Hey everybody, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, the king of armor destruction and the armor wizard. Zap Zap. We've got our new, for 2022, Generation 2 1092 from RMA Armament. In full transparency, Mr. Corey and Blake over at RMA provided me with a pair of these plates to demo so that when they have ample stock, I can release this video and you guys can see what this plate is made of. Previously, our Gen 1 1092 was a very high performing plate. Its only weakness was M855A1 going from longer than our 10.5-inch SBR. This Gen 2 plate is specifically designed to meet the up-and-coming NIJ 07 specifications, which adds M855, M193, it still retains 762x51. They add 762x39 mild steel core. But RMA specifically designed this particular plate to stop M855A1 going 3,100 feet per second. We're going to test the upper limits of this plate today and see what it's made of. Now, this is the first time you're coming across my YouTube channel. I do things completely different than everyone else on YouTube. I strive to give you guys as much information as possible so you guys who are doing your own research can make the best buying decision possible. Now, there's a lot of daydreaming, thinking you're going to soak up a whole bunch of rounds on this plate, and in the NIJ's testing, under the 06 standard, 6 shots for level 3 is what they take, and then the upcoming 03 standard, it's actually only 3 shots per plate. So, you know, when I put 20 shots on a plate and we see some penetrations there, that's because I can only get 1 or 2 plates, and you shouldn't use anything that I do here as your final call for, you know, whether you're going to make this buying decision or not. If you see me stop M855A1 here going 3,200 feet per second, you should go back to the manufacturer, or the manufacturer should go back to the NIJ lab and actually have that threat tested in an official lab so that if it does stop it, they can add that as a specification to this armor. Now, this armor employs a ceramic strike face, so we've gone ahead and dropped it on its face 2 times as a preconditioning test. We use a giant clay briefcase filled with Roma Plastilina #1 clay donated by Chavant that acts as our compressible media, and it's a solid surface to mount the armor up against, like we were putting up against our body. We're not throwing it on the ground or putting it up against the dirt and then, you know, changing the angle. We shoot at 0 degrees because that's worst case scenario. We put a spreadsheet here at the beginning that we kind of foreshadow all the different threats that we're going to shoot at it. And at the end, we do a teardown video so we can kind of see what the guts of our plates look like. And then we fill that spreadsheet out and double check all of our penetrations and velocities. And then we send you on your merry way. All right, it's another day. Actually, it's Monday and I recorded the intro on Sunday. But the weather is very much the same. It's about 70 degrees outside. We've got plate #1 strapped in down yonder, and we're ready to take our first shots. Since this is a level 3, 3+ RF1 and 2 plate, let's start with our baseline threat, which is M80 ball. It's 145 to 150 grain. Full metal jacket going 2750 is the spec. We've got a 22-inch TC compass with a Yankee Hill Phantom M2 on there. We're going to take 2 shots out of this gun, and this is going to give us close to specification, and then we're going to get out the longer barrel for over spec. So this should be in the upper part of the plate. Maybe. Can't read the chronograph. 27:31, I think. Pretty close to spec there. Right where I wanted. I'm going to place this one in the lower right-hand corner. Under spec that time. And now we've brought out Armor Slayer #2. This is our Savage Axis 110 Tactical, a 24-inch barrel. Got the Yankee Hill Phantom M2 up there for maximum noise reduction and a little bit more velocity. Got a Crimson Trace Hardline Pro first focal plane scope on there. we're seeing sometimes almost 3,000 feet per second out of this setup here, which is quite a bit above standard. Again, on my channel, I try to give you guys worst case scenario so that if, you know, something real world were to happen, you have that confidence to know that this plate will stop a round, or maybe it won't stop a round. So I'm going to go opposite corners for these. So this will be in the upper right hand corner. .2877, so 100 feet per second over. And then I'll place this one in the bottom corner, left corner. .2900. Yeah. That's likely why the NIJ Lab hand loads all of their rounds, so they can control that velocity a lot better. If I forgot to mention in the introduction, I actually did some R&D on our Gen 2 here for RMA before they released this to the public. Once we've taken some of these shots and we go down and check out our plate, it'll be interesting to see if they took some of my recommendations. We've got our 22-inch TC compass with our Turbo 556 on there. Got the primary arms SLX 14 to 16 first focal plane illuminated on here. Very nice little scope so far. And we've got a big spread of 556. Don't worry, we'll get to M855A1. First we have SS190. That is a 31 grain aluminum core with a steel penetrating tip, just like M855, but this is for 5.7. We've loaded it into our 5.56 case. We should see 3,600 feet per second. I kind of use this load every now and then just to show that people think that speed alone defeats armor, and that's not always the case. Then we have M855. That is a 62 grain lead core with a conical steel penetrating tip. I think it's identical in both of those rounds. Then we have our known steel armor killer, M193 Independence 55 grain full metal jacket lead core. Somebody commented the other day that they thought that this had a tungsten core. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Lead core, brother. We'll take the SS190 shots last. The M855 second. And the M193 first. Oh, almost got that one mixed up. So that's 6, 7, 8, 10. All right, I have to open the bolt. Now, if you see my Gen 1 video, that strike face was really good at taking a lot of hits on the plate. Like I said, NIJ 07 is only 3 shots per sample, which I think is kind of crappy. I think it should be 6. So this is M193. So this will be second row starting on the left. Another M193 will be right next to that. And we're just going to walk these right in a line. Getting good velocity. Let me load the last 2 M193s in there. I apologize in advance if any of these videos are ever too long, folks. Watch them on 2X. The data's there, or if you just watch the beginning and the end, that's fine by me. And then this one we placed. Let's make an edge shot. Hopefully I don't shoot my clay. And then this one will be on the next line. Now on to the M855. I think we have one more M855. We're on the third row now, above the M80 overspec round shot. Now we're on to the SS190. Should have the same holdover. $37. Woo! 36. The problem with these rounds is I don't think you can pack enough powder in the case to get them moving very quickly. And this last shot will be above the M80 ball shot. All right, let's go see what we did to plate number 1. That's a lot of shots on this plate, but I believe they're all fair hits. Our M80 ball spec was there. Our plus P was there. M193 shots number 1, 2, 3, 4. That's an edge shot. Look at how close that is to the edge. 5. Then M855 number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that's a little close to that shot. Then our SS190 number 1, 2, and 3. And then the other M80 ball shot was right down there. Place those bets in the comments below. This is a brand new table. Like I said, all the support I get from my Patreon and subscribers. Whoa! Unfrickin' believable, folks. No pass-throughs at all. There's ceramic all over this table. Impressive. Even that edge shot. Now these are hard to account for because on the edge the bullet could shoot out the side, and I think that's why the NIJ goes 2 inches from the edge or whatever. But cool. Now I detect that we're using some high density foam on the back to control our back face, and it looks like that plus P down there gave us the largest dimple, but that's impressive. Now the strike face is probably used up at this point. We're gonna go to plate number 2 because we got to test M855A1. Now, as far as our back face goes, I would say these bottom are our worst. The clay is not up to temperature, so this is just a representation. Always defer to actual NIJ lab testing. That one was 33.92 millimeters. That one was 2960. And then even this one up here, I mean, 13. That one was piddle cakes. Impressive. I would say then that RMA took my constructive criticism, critiques, or offers for improvement to heart and made some better improvements on this particular plate. That plus P plus pressure M80 ball was stopped. Time to get into our spicy boys. This is specifically what this plate was redesigned to handle is our M855A1 EPR round. This is the enhanced performance round. This is meant to replace M855 ball, at least in the United States military. It is used all the way down to basic training. There's a lot of internet hype and myth from when it first came out and they had the pressures jacked up pretty high. But most of the lots of ammunition that I have to shoot are from 2012 upwards to currently 2021 lot. I think some of the newer stuff that I've shot. And it's all been about the same velocity-wise. You know, it does have a hardened steel penetrating tip. So if you're not using Gen 3 PMags or I think is it brown or tan follower USGI, you could actually chew up your feed lips a little bit. But I think in civilian use and semi-automatic and bolt guns, you're probably not going to see that too much. I've got 10 rounds of this, and then we got some other couple special threats we're going to throw at this plate. It's not really designed for AP threats. It's meant to be a solid RF2 offering. I like that it is thinner than the previous generation. The G1 was like, I think 1.2 inches thick, a little bit on the thick side. So this is a 1/10 of an inch thinner, if not even thinner, because it's got extra foam on it. Now it is about a pound heavier, but the last one could only stop M855A1 from a 10.5 inch SBR. We're going full velocity here. this should be, we're just going to start at the top and kind of walk around maybe. So it's a top dot. $31.73. Put this one right next to it. We'll go in the middle row. Outside of the middle row. This one will be bottom corner. Do we try an edge shot? I mean, for Corey, why not? Right above the 27mm. This one I'll put on the right extreme. We'll go a little higher this time. I'm gonna put this one right on the star. Sun's in my eyes. Right on the star. Edge shot. When will the carnage end, Corey? When will it end? I'll place this one, the bottom in the middle above where I have the thickness. Awesome. 10 rounds. M855A1. I had to reach into the ammo box, but these are from Elite Ammunition. I think these are 28 grain T6B loaded in 5.56 casing. Elite Ammunition is known for their 5.7 loads. These are very effective in 5.7. They are a solid copper bullet, pre-fragmented, probably not going to do very much against armor. I think we got 3,400 feet per second in these. Definitely need more powder. Just kind of using them up, trying to see if we can hurt this plate a little bit. These should be on the bottom row where it says King. At least they should be. Not sure what the velocity is off that. Does that say 34? And then last one, guys. Didn't get a velocity reading off that one. Can't leave our 300 blackout brethren out in an armored test. They actually do pretty well depending on the projectile that I have loaded. I have M14A1, that is an armor-piercing incendiary round, 150 grains, although in 300 blackout I'm only getting about 1,500 feet per second out of it because the bullet is very long. And I have M80A1, it's 130 grain steel penetrating tip with a copper core, full-blown 7.62 NATO load. It's like 3,000 feet per second out of my 22-inch. I think we get around 1,900 out of this gun. We'll take that shot second, take the API first. Hopefully my offsets are correct. This should be on the top part of the R for RMA. I think I just shot that way too low, folks. All right, let's go see what we did. I apologize about the lawnmower noise in the background. Here were all of our shots, M855A1s, all over the place. Right there, down here, here, and here. These shots right here were the T6B stuff. And now our incendiary, I believe, was right here. We'll have to double check the camera, but that wasn't there before. And then our M80A1 was right there. Place those bets in the comments below. Ruh-oh, Raggy. We have a penetration from the M80A1. That thing is really hard to stop. There's our penetration right there. It looks like our edge shot was actually stopped, but it might have squeaked out just a little bit on the side. I can feel some fragments there, but that could be from a prior test. Again, because of the expense of this clay and the fact I'm doing this by myself, yeah, I have to use this clay as much as I can. So there could be fragments from prior testing in there. And that's generally why the NIJ doesn't do edge shots. And then down here, that other edge shot kind of looks like maybe it did the same thing where it pushed out the bottom, because I see some fresh jacket fragments down there. I'll call that one as penetrated because I can see some ceramic and jacket fragments in the plate. It didn't penetrate the plate, but again, that's why the NIJ doesn't do edge shots. Impressive. All those shots of M855A1 over the spec. I think they spec 3,100 feet per second, or maybe it was 3,150. And then it stopped the M14A1, our flasher. Cool. Paging Dr. Matt to surgery. This is a favorite part of a lot of my followers, is the teardown. It's where we confirm any of our penetrations, and based on my experience doing this, I offer any constructive criticism for room for improvement. Here was plate number 2, our polyethylene. It is pressed, approximately 365 thousandths thick. You can see you can't really thumb through that like a book. Our only penetrations through and through our polyethylene was the M80A1. That M14A1 was stopped, and I'll give this one as a penetration down here for that edge shot because of the material, the ceramic that I actually found in the clay. The NIJ would consider that a penetration. Not sure what brand polyethylene it is, but like I said, it is pressed. There is that API bullet, the core of it right there, got destroyed and slowed down enough in the polyethylene that it stopped it. We have this high density yellow foam in the back, 310 thousandths. This helps with our blunt force trauma. And normally what I see when I shoot 308 at this stuff is it comes apart pretty easily. With our 5.56, it stayed intact fairly well. Then we get into the core, our ceramic core, 302 thousandths thick, pretty thick for a ceramic core on this one. Could be why the weight is increased. We have a black foam on the front at 164 thousandths thick. You can see that this does have edge-to-edge ceramic. Someone asked about that. This particular setup is very much like the G1 and some of the HESCO plates that we've demoed, is we've got some kind of lamination going on the ceramic that helps keep it together and allows it to be multi-hit. You can see again that API, I love that stuff. Look at how much it burns. I really need to get some more of that. I think Poly Gunbags had some at one point. He may be out. Here is plate number 1. No penetrations. That edge shot may be iffy. I didn't really find any material in it, so I'm going to give him that one. You can see our foam here gets a little distorted when we shoot the higher energy rounds at it. And there is the ceramic again. You could take some more hits on this plate. NIJ upcoming 07. I guess I didn't realize they reduced the amount of hits to 3 per plate. Kind of disappointing. I felt 6 was a good number, especially for 308, because 6 shots at 2750 is pretty hard to stop. And there you have it, folks. The teardown is complete. Well, everyone, sound off in the comments below on your thoughts on how the 1092 G2 performed. Now, I didn't shoot any advanced threats at it like M2AP or M80A1 from 308, or any of those other armor-piercing threats that this plate's not really designed for. It's designed to meet our RF2 specifications, and they updated it to meet M855A1. And when we shot a bunch of those at that plate, even some of the edge shots were contained without an issue. As I mentioned earlier, our Generation 2 model is thinner than the Generation 1, but it does come at a weight disadvantage. It does weigh a full pound more, although that strike face is a lot thicker. Me personally, I'd like to see what would happen if we took that foam away from the backing, the yellow kind, and added that same thickness of polyethylene to see if we could actually stop, say, M80A1, maybe from a 16-inch going from this, because it does have a pretty thick strike face. With all that being said, I'm going to get out of here. I did back squats today and some rowing and push-ups with my wife before I came out here. But at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible. Number one is my Patreon and Subscribe Star fans. I have a link tree in my description with various affiliate codes and discount codes that help me to procure a lot of this stuff, because the M855A1, for example, is not cheap. I have a discount code for RMA. I do believe it saves you 5%, and like I said, that sales commission earns me a little bit of cheddar to help buy some more of this stuff. Number two is RMA Armament, or RMA Defense. They've been a long supporter of the channel. They gave me a shot probably, 6 years ago, and let me play with the 1189 when I said, hey, I've got a load that I'd like to see that stop. So a big thank you to Corey and Blake for sending these over for us to demo with no strings attached. And of course, number three is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.